Because you two texts.
Because you
Two
two
texts that are like in the same way.
So like I just earlier when we were doing grammar detective, I put y'all in pairs. Means there's
Two texts that are like in the same
okay. So I made an anchor chart yesterday, and it says a paired text. A paired text is two. Say two texts that are alike in some way. Some way. So you have two texts that connect. I made puzzle pieces because what do we do with puzzles?
We
connect them
together, right? To make the whole picture, right? Okay. It says you will have questions about each individual text, right? Make sure you refer to the correct text to answer that question. So on your paired text with your answers, you have this little box up here, and it has italicized words. Why do you think those words are italicized?
It's like telling you maybe, like,
I want you to see it.
yeah.
It does want, it's wanting to stand out so that you take notice. But it says use carving Crazy Horse Mountain to answer questions 1 and 2.
It's telling you what story to look
Those italicized words are telling you the title of the text
helping
that you
you
are
out.
supposed to be looking at to answer your question. Then it says you will have questions about both texts. About what?
both texts.
Make sure you have evidence from both, you use evidence from both texts to answer your question. Okay? So let's dive in. I'm going to put one of these under here. Take your 4 square off. Okay. So the title of our first text is what?
Carving Crazy Horse Mountain.
Carving Crazy Horse Mountain. I want y'all to follow along while I read it. Okay? It says, what is the largest sculpture in the world? It's the Crazy Horse Memorial Sculpture being carved out of a mountain in South Dakota. Where's it being carved out of?
South Dakota.
Out of a what?
Mountain.
Out of a what? Out of a mountain. It's not finished yet. However, you can now see the face of Crazy Horse. Crazy Horse was a famous chief of the Lakota Indians who lived in South Dakota. Who is Crazy Horse?
Captain, chief.
He's a chief of what?
Lakota Indians.
Of the Lakota Indian tribe, right? The purpose of the carving is to honor and preserve the culture of the Native Americans. When the monument is finished, you will see Crazy Horse sitting on his horse with his arm outstretched. He will seem to be pointing to his ancestors in ancestors' burial grounds. The sculpture will be 641 feet long, which is over 6 football fields from end to end. That's massive, isn't it? It will be 563 feet high, as high as a 56-story building. His finger alone, the finger that's pointing to his ancestors' burial grounds, is 29.5 feet long.
What?
Just his finger.
It's like 4 or 6.
To carve the sculpture, many tons of rock are removed from the mountain by drilling and blasting. When most of the rock has been removed from an area, workers remove the remaining rock by hand to finish the surface. The gigantic sculpture was began 60 years ago. It was 60 years ago from when this was printed. So it could be longer now, I'm sure. By comparison, the Great Pyramid in Egypt only took 20 years to build. No one knows when the Crazy Horse Memorial will be finished. Okay, so detach your papers. Because I want you to have your text beside your answer key. Because we're going to look at them. We're going dissect them. Look at number 1. First, what do we need to take notice of? The box, right?
Right.
What's the box say?
Use carving crazy horse mountains to answer question 1 and 2.
Use carving crazy horse mountains to answer questions 1 and 2. Let's highlight that. What story are we, or what text are we using?
Carving crazy horse mountain.
To answer which question?
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Okay, let's read your first question. It says, the main purpose of this selection is to. What do we need to highlight in that sentence?
Main purpose selection.
So the main purpose. Do y'all use that? What's the acronym that y'all use? Y'all
Main
every
idea.
day.
Main
Main idea. Your pie. Remember your pie. This is what it's asking for. So if you want to, you can write pie above that, above main purpose.
Okay.
Well, it helps you. I would totally use it. Because it's helping us to decide what the main purpose of this text is about, right? Okay. So let's go look back into your text. It says, what is the largest sculpture in the world? It's Crazy Horse Memorial Sculpture being carved out of mountain in South Dakota. Right? So I'm going to highlight that because I think that's going to be important for us to remember when we're trying to figure out what the main purpose of this text is about. And you can label it. What are we going to label it with?
Number 1.
Because it's going to help us do what?
Remember.
Okay, so let's look down here. Is there anywhere else in that first paragraph that might help us decide what the main purpose of this text is?
Crazy Horse was famous chief of the Lakota Indians who lived in South Dakota.
Okay. What about that next sentence after that too?
The purpose of the carving is to honor
And preserve the culture of the Native Americans, right? Let's label that one. Let's put another 1 on that one also. That's gonna help us. Let's go look at our question and the answers. So we're looking for the main purpose. Is the main purpose to persuade the reader to visit Crazy Horse Memorial? Is it to compare the mountain's appearance before and after it was carved?
No. But it's not, we don't know if it's done yet.
That's right, we don't know if it's done. So it can't be A or B. What about describe how the mountain is being carved into a memorial for Crazy Horse?
No.
No?
Maybe.
Maybe? Let's look at the last one. Provide facts about a great Lakota warrior, Chief Crazy Horse. Did it provide us any facts?
Kind of.
It just told us who he was, though, right? So, I'm going to say it's probably not D either. So, our main purpose is probably to describe, was there describing words in that text that was like helping you, is describing like how they are making and building Crazy Horse Memorial?
Yeah.
So do you think that the main purpose is to describe how something is done? To describe how Crazy Horse Memorial is being built?
Yes.
Say with confidence.
Yes.
Yes, it is. That is what is happening in this text. Is it is describing it. Because it's telling us how they're doing it, how big it's going to be, where it's located. So yes, you're right. We're describing it. So let's circle C. Okay, so moving on to number 2. And are we still looking at which text?
Carving crazy horse.
And we know that because
That's what the box is in.
because the box told us that we were going to answer questions 1 and 2 with this text, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's read the question. The author organizes the information in paragraph 2 by, so what are we looking for? The author organizes, what's he organizing?
Information.
Where is he organizing it?
Paragraph 2.
Is that important to know?
Yeah.
So are we gonna look through the whole text?
No.
Are we gonna look just in paragraph 2?
Yes.
Because we're gonna find our answer there, right?
Mhm.
So the author organizes the information in paragraph 2 by what? What do you think? By telling what the carving looks like now? Describing what the finished monument will look like? Describing how the mountain is being carved? Or explaining why the monument is being carved?
Explaining.
Y'all wanna read it again? Y'all wanna read paragraph 2 again?
Yes.
It says, when the monument is finished, you will see Crazy Horse sitting on his horse with his arms outstretched. He will seem to be pointing to his ancestors' burial ground. The sculpture will be 641 feet long, which is over 6 football fields placed end to end. It will be 563 feet high as a 56-story building. His finger alone will be 29.5 feet long.
Wow.
So the author organizes the information in paragraph 2 by why?
By describing what the finished monument will look like.
Well, can you,
Because it said,
what's it say in the paragraph?
it says when the monument is
When the monument is finished, so is it finished?
No.
It's not, is it? So it's,
No.
it is still being built, right?
Yes.
You will see Crazy Horse sitting on his horse, right? So we will see, that's telling us one more time, it's not finished, guys. We have to finish it. I'm excited though. I want to see this thing finished before in my lifetime. So let's label that as 2. That helps us answer 2, didn't it? I'm sorry.
No.
It's pretty cool that we did that. We did that.
Did last year, but haven't done it this year.
Alright. We're going on to question 3. But I need, what do we need to do now? What is this?
It's a little box.
What's it telling us in that little box?
So look on the Mount Rushmore text.
So look at Mount Rushmore text. So I'm going to read it. I want y'all to follow along. Okay? So now we're going to talk about Mount Rushmore. Do y'all even know what Mount Rushmore is?
Yeah.
Has anyone seen Mount Rushmore?
I think
What? Me too.
Still have.
I have seen pictures in like the grandpa videos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what it's all about. It says Mount Rushmore National Memorial is a massive sculpture carved into a granite mountain in the Black Hills region of South Dakota. Where's it at?
Black Dakota, South Dakota.
The immense sculpture features the faces of 4 presidents. How many presidents?
4.
Of the United States? Is it the 4 presidents of the United States?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
George Washington?
Yep.
Say George Washington.
George Washington,
Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson,
Theodore Roosevelt.
Theodore Roosevelt,
And Abraham Lincoln.
and Abraham Lincoln.
It took 14 years and 400 men to carve the mountain sculpture.
Wow.
The carvers were mostly miners who had come to the Black Hills in search of gold. Despite the dangerous conditions, no one died during the carving. The sculptor of Mount Rushmore was Gutzon Borgle. We're just gonna go with it. He designed the sculpture and chose the presidents to be carved. The memorial cost $1 million to carve. Over 90% of the stone was removed by blasting. The remaining 10% was removed by jackhammers and by hand sculpting. At first, Thomas Jefferson was to be carved on the right side of George Washington. However, the granite in the location was too weak, so the workers dynamited the half-completed face of Jefferson off the mountainside. Then they carved it to the left side of Washington, where it can be seen today. Originally, each president was going to be shown from the waist up. However, to save money, only the faces were carved. So we're going to question 3, and remember, let's highlight, we're using which text?
Mount Rushmore.
And we're answering which question?
3 and 4.
3 and 4. Let's look at our question. Only the faces of the president are shown because. What do we need to highlight in that question?
Only the faces.
Only the faces of who?
Presidents.
Because. Let's go back to our text. Why were only the faces of the presidents shown?
Oh, okay. However, to save money, only the faces were carved.
Oh. Very nice line. It says, however, to save money,
Only the faces were carved.
only the faces were carved.